Modern American presidents wanted to be seen with Nelson Mandela to celebrate his life and legacy. In 1990, he was cheered by the U.S. Congress that had, for most of his life, labeled him a terrorist. In fact, he wasn't removed from the terrorist watch list until 2008. For decades, the United States was steadfast in its support of the apartheid government, Senator John McCain among them.
There was questions about the legitimacy of the ANC. Also, there's a very powerful lobby here on the part of, and a very well-financed lobby here in Washington on the part of the then apartheid government.
So what finally changed for Americans? Well, they knew the story, they'd seen the pictures, but then experts say they started to see the video. What was happening was then undeniable.
We saw the children and Steve Biko getting killed, and we saw the Sharpsville massacre. I mean, all that stuff was always resonating among African Americans, and it was like right alongside our civil rights movement, and so we spent a lot of time focusing on South Africa.
The movement that began in the inner cities moved to college campuses. Momentum was building across the United States as the world was abandoning apartheid, but not President Ronald Reagan.
As one African leader remarked recently, Southern Africa is like a zebra. If the white parts are injured, the black parts will die too.
Activist Howard Dotson believes that was just an excuse.
Their interests were, in some respects, sustaining the apartheid regime. But the second and probably most significant, accessing the economic resources of South Africa and finding ways of exploiting that for their various corporate interests.
The American people threatened to boycott those companies, pressuring politicians at the same time. In 1986, Congress sanctioned the South African government. President Reagan vetoed the bill. He was overruled, the only time that happened in the 20th century. A few years later, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison and into the embrace of the United States.
Well, we got to go to work now.
And its leaders, who often talk of his struggle, but not the part the U.S. played in it. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.